Bitcoin back above 17,000. We're going to talk about why. And guys, the European Central Bank just said that Bitcoin is on the road to irrelevance. We're going to break that down. Plus, guys, you're going to want to stay to the end of this episode because I got all the top crypto news stories of the week. Now, let's go ahead. Let's just get straight into it, guys. Coin market cap, Bitcoin back above 17,000. Ethereum up almost 8% on a week. Polygon Matic up almost 7% on a day, sitting at 92 cents. Wow, guys, I was looking for a re-entry point, but I put a poll up on YouTube community, and a lot of you guys think that this pump is a fake out. We're going to talk about why this pump I think is happening and talk about if it actually is going to be a fake out. So, but let's get to the first story, guys, because this is a good one. I love this story. From Finbold, Bitcoin is on the road to irrelevance, warns the European Central Bank. So let me see what it says in the article, guys. Officials from the European Central Bank have made a firm rejection of Bitcoin by labeling the digital asset as inappropriate, both as a payment mechanism and as an investment vehicle amid the widespread fallout in crypto markets following the FTX collapse. It does not generate cash flow like real estate or dividends like equities, cannot be used productively like commodities, or provide social benefit like gold. The market valuation of Bitcoin is therefore based purely on speculation. So, all right, guys, did y'all see The Matrix? You know, when Neo, he's always got to fight these new iterations of Agent Smith, and when he, beats one, Agent Smith just takes over somebody else. That's what this story is. This story is literally an agent of The Matrix. Now, understand that, let's look back to last year. China bans Bitcoin. Guys, we covered that story on this channel at least 10 times. And I would literally have friends in real life text me that like, dude, Kev, look, China banned Bitcoin. Are you concerned? And I'm like, dude, I've covered that on my channel 10 times. This is fake news. It's FUD. They're saying this. Guys, think about it. They're comparing, a European Central Bank is comparing what happened with FTX to Bitcoin. That right there shows they're being dishonest or they're dumb. They're either being dumb or dishonest. Whatever one you want it to be, it can only be one of them. I think at this point they're just being dishonest, and they may happen to be dumb as well. This is why. What happened with FTX would be the equivalent of this. You have JP Morgan, Chase Bank, and you have Capital One Bank. Now imagine if JP Morgan, Chase Bank was run by a bunch of people on Adderall, and we're all sleeping with each other, and we're all protected by political donations, right? So JP Morgan Chase Bank goes under due to immense fraud and, stealing and breaking every law, every financial law known to man, right? Capital One wouldn't say, oh, we're getting rid of cash because of what happened at JP Morgan Chase Bank. That makes no sense. It has nothing to do with Bitcoin. On top of that, the bankruptcy proceedings have come out. FTX didn't even have any Bitcoin. They were selling you fake Bitcoin. These are criminals. Now, as far as it doesn't generate cash flow or it's not a commodity, this is false, guys. This is false. So what we're going to see is, and I'm going to put this on the record, in the not so distant future, you're going to see the European Central Bank announce that they are now holding Bitcoin and or crypto, or they're going to allow their users to deposit crypto so that they can then take the Bitcoin and lend it out via fractional reserve banking. I guarantee you that happens, guys, because if it doesn't happen, then the European Central Bank's just going to go into irrelevance. While every other nation, while El Salvador, now we hear in Brazil's like the 6th largest economy in the world, just legalize it as a payment mechanism. Russia's working on an entire national crypto exchange. China holds like $6 billion worth of Bitcoin. Come on, guys. This is the 2022 version of China bans Bitcoin. And you know what? If you see stories like this, make sure to send them to me, because I'm going to do the same thing I did last year. It's going to give me infinite content, because I'll just keep covering new iterations of this story. And then after we cover it probably 10 times, then we'll cover the story of European Central Bank now holds $10 billion worth of Bitcoin. Guarantee you that happens. All right. Next story, guys. Next story. So this is why I think the market's pumped a little bit. Fed Chair Jerome Powell suggests 0.5 percentage point hike for December. Fed Chair Jerome Powell made it clear in a recent speech that services inflation is what concerns him the most. He is cautiously optimistic that goods prices will continue to come down and that housing costs will moderate into 2023, but he worries that services costs will continue to follow wage costs higher. Still, he believes that rates are now close to restrictive levels, so slowing the pace of hikes and holding rates high until inflation is clearly coming down are part of effective management of the uncertainty around inflation. In Powell's view, that makes a 0.5% rate point hike when the Fed next sets rates on December 14th highly likely. Powell spoke extensively at the Brookings Institute on November 30th about monetary policy in the U.S. economy. He first presented on inflation trends for the U.S. and took questions. Markets have viewed his comments as favorably, confirming that the U.S. economy is relatively close to peak interest rates. Very interesting, guys. Inflation uncertainty. He explains that U.S. inflation forecasts have been wrong for 12 months now. Many have expected inflation to fall. No, not true. Not true. Not true. We talked about on this channel every single episode when I told you that inflation is not going to fall due to these rate hikes. What they're doing is the CPI numbers are misleading. I'm not even going to get into it. Let's just continue to what he's saying. Many have expected inflation to fall, but it has moved stubbornly sideways. That's why Powell was unwilling to declare victory on inflation after the positive release we saw in the October CPI numbers. He mentioned that there have been a number of months where inflation dropped, only to rebound next month. That's what inflation does, guys. That raises the importance of the CPI numbers for December, as nowcast suggests inflation could rebound. All right, the inflation numbers or the CPI numbers are very misleading, guys. They're formulating, the cost of like Netflix and McDonald's, which have different economies of scale versus what really matters to us. What really matters is the cost at the pump, the cost of housing, and the cost of groceries, the cost of cooking food at home. Those are what really matter to Americans. Rents are up. Look at the price of a new car. God, go try to buy a used car. Go try to buy a used car right now and let me know what happens, guys. I just talked to a couple of friends. They just bought a new car because the used car market is terrible. And because of the way the loans work, the car loans work, it's better to just buy a new car. See, because that's economies of scale, guys. That's the big players. Inflation's not going to hurt them as much. They're going to just pass the buck along. But over time, there is a small percentage chance that we do experience hyperinflation in this country if we do not get stuff back on track. I don't know if it's going to be through a Bitcoin standard or it's going to be some radical changes in the way our economy works. I do not know, but Jerome Powell is being very dishonest when he says this, because there's been many economists that knew inflation was going to keep going up or go sideways. So by raising the interest rates, even Elon Musk said yesterday, by raising the interest rates, you're going to cause a recession. We're already in a recession, but it's going to prolong the recession, guys, because you're destroying the housing market. How many people's jobs rely on the housing market? How many people in real estate agents, insurance, mortgage professionals? There's so many people that are being affected by these rate hikes, and it's clearly not lowering the inflation. Anyway, so next story, guys. I'm sorry, Bitcoin.com market spike after Fed chair says it makes sense to moderate the pace of rate hikes. Hints, guys, at this point, you can look at TA, you can look at, geopolitical, and determine these markets. But if you really want to trade these markets, watch these Jerome Powell, meetings where he talks about, what he's going to do if he's hawkish, whatever they call it. Watch these meetings with Jerome Powell because essentially, guys, if there's a small rate hike, the market's going to go up. If there's, no rate hike, the markets are really going to go up. But if he raises interest rates super high, like he's done in the past, then the markets are going to crash because strictly it's just math, guys. Money's harder to get. Raise interest rates, money's harder to get. Speculative assets get sold off. That's how I'm viewing all of this. But got some bullish news, guys. Telegram announces plan to build a decentralized crypto exchange following the FTX failure. Founder and CEO Paul Durov wants to steer crypto back towards trustless models. Absolutely, guys. So as the FTX fallout continues, more people are understanding the need for decentralization and to move away from all centralized entities, not just crypto exchanges, social media, news, everything. Everything needs to be decentralized in a smart manner, a smart manner with DAOs, and that's kind of where I think everything's going. This is just, some of the fallout, and again, while we build this decentralized society, it's just going to take time, guys. It's going to take time, and, the FTX situation, guys, there's still a lot of bad actors in crypto. There's a lot of bad builders. There's a lot of bad projects. There's a lot of scam coins. There's still so much, but over time, guys, the cream will rise to the top, I promise. CoinDesk's FTX collapse was a crime, not an accident. Sam Bankman-Fried is a con man and fraudster of historic proportions. But you might not learn that from the New York Times. CoinDesk Chief Insights columnist David Z. Morris writes, absolutely, guys. So as our mainstream media, guys, my mom just called me this morning about Sam Bankman-Fried's doing an interview with, I forgot who, some big Democrat. And I'm like, she's like, you gonna watch it? I'm like, probably not, guys. Probably not. He did the New York Times Book Summit interview. I watched some of it, guys. It's so like softball, so scripted, guys. The audience was getting up and clapping. Like, I can't do it. I'm disgusted. And now it's kind of starting to hit me, which a lot of you told me. I guess I was wrong. I was thinking that this dude would be in jail by now. But like everybody's saying, like, Kev, he ain't going to jail. He ain't going to jail. Too powerful, too connected. Shell companies in the Bahamas, moving real estate in different LLC names, paying off politicians. Terrible, guys. Terrible. But I'll still hold faith that he goes to jail. And if not, the universe has karma. I do believe in that. And it will come to him. Next story, guys. Bitcoin hash rate continues sharp plunge as miners give up. Data shows the Bitcoin mining hash rate has continued its sharp plunge into the last week as miners give up due to low revenue. So yeah, guys. So understand that if you're invested in mining companies, which I am, I'm invested in a lot of crypto mining companies. That as the cost as the price of Bitcoin comes down, understand that these mining companies have overhead. They have to pay bills. They're just like any business. So this Bitcoin price, at what point do the miners just say this isn't profitable anymore and they just sell their equipment? I mean, we've seen stories where companies have just abandoned all their mining equipment because it's just not worth it anymore. Now, what I think is the big boys, they're mining more on scale. They're mining with more renewable energy, more green energy, or they have a lot of, Bitcoin in reserves, Hive Blockchain, one I'm invested in, where they have a lot of Bitcoin, Ethereum in reserves that they can sell off to get them through this quote unquote crypto winter. But definitely something you're going to want to continue to monitor because, guys, the miners, I talk a lot about who controls the markets. I talk a lot about the big hedge funds, the shadow entities that really run these markets. But guys, these miners, if these miners coordinate a sell-off, that's going to be a dump. And the miners will coordinate a sell-off, but I'll let you know when that happens. But it's not going to happen yet, I don't think. Next story, guys. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg still long-term optimistic on metaverse. The skepticism doesn't bother me that much, the CEO of Facebook's parent company said at the DealBook Summit on Wednesday. So, guys, Mark Zuckerberg spoke at the same DealBook Summit that Sam Bankman-Fried spoke at, and it was very interesting cast of people speaking at that summit, and wasn't too many people I'm a fan of. I will leave it at that. Next story, guys, volcano bonds, an imminent paradigm shift in the bond market and what it means. El Salvador made history in September 2021 when it became the first country to recognize Bitcoin as legal currency. Now El Salvador is taking the next level. Its next project has the potential to reinvent the entire securities market, starting with the $100 trillion bond market. Last year, President Nayib Bukele made a stunning announcement. He made a compelling case for how El Salvador could be the financial center of the world and the Singapore of Latin America by revolution the bond market. Here's how he plans to do it. El Salvador plans to issue $1 billion in 10-year bonds with a 6.5% coupon being the liquid network, a second layer built on Bitcoin that allows for issuance of tokenized securities like bonds. Wow. So, guys, the world is watching. If this Bitcoin standard, if this Bitcoin bond experiment, and by every measurable metric, we're seeing El Salvador's GDP go up, their crime go down, their tourism go up. I mean, this is a turnaround for this country, guys, and the world's watching. Now, what you're going to see, which you're already seeing a lot of mainstream media, like not giving El Salvador favorable coverage because they don't want it to work, guys. The central banks do not want this Bitcoin standard to work because it'll make the IMF and other big banking institutions, it'll make them not needed anymore. What a wonderful world that would be. What a wonderful world that would be. BlackRock, Reuters, BlackRock's Fink says crypto technology still relevant despite FTX collapse. So yeah, guys, so the CEO of BlackRock, Larry Fink, he says that crypto technology still relevant despite FTX collapse. Of course, guys, they're about to buy it all. I told you this. BlackRock partnered with Coinbase. They're about to buy all the Bitcoin. Come on, guys. BlackRock's not going to miss out on this. Sam Bankman-Fried to New York Times. I wasn't running Alameda. The former FTX CEO admitted to oversight, but distanced himself from FTX's sister company. Yeah, guys, you know who was running Alameda Research? Their sister company, and he's lying. He actually was running it, but his girlfriend was the CEO, so man just threw his girlfriend under the bus. Wow. Not a man, dude. If you're going to do the crime, you got to do the time. Stand up and just admit what you did, dude. Like, come on, man. Oy. Full transcript, New York Times interview with Sam Bankman-Fried. Sam Bankman-Fried says he did not knowingly commingle customers' funds during the interview. Liar. That is lie. This is called lies. This is literally called lies, guys. He literally took customers' funds and bought real estate in the Bahamas in different LLC names. I can't, guys, I had to turn off that interview. I couldn't even watch it. It was terrible. Decrypt, guys, BlackRock CEO's next generation for market is tokenization. BlackRock joins a growing number of firms back into tokenization of securities despite the CEO's wider crypto cynicism. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink says the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenized securities. Of course. Everything's going to be on a blockchain, guys. The entire stock market is going to be on a blockchain. When you go to get gas, that receipt is going to be stored on a blockchain. Everything you do will be stored on a blockchain. It will be the natural progression of the evolution of the stock market to be on the blockchain. Absolutely right, guys. As y'all know, I'm not the biggest fan of BlackRock or Larry Fink, but he's 100% right here, guys. That's the direction this is going. Again, guys, this is the stories the mainstream media is not talking about, but they'll highlight the FTX collapse as a reason not to be in these assets because, again, they don't want you in these assets. I keep telling y'all that. They want it all for themselves. The Hill, Senate committee to kick off public probe of FTX collapse. Lawmakers are scrambling to understand why FTX collapsed and how the implosion of the Titanic cryptocurrency firm could upend the industry, guys. Again, with so many Republicans and so many Democrats taking money from this guy, I don't know if anything's going to come from it because, if one goes down, it's let's put it this way, they would all go down all the way to the top. Lot of big names involved in this, guys. So I don't know. Anyway, next story. CTFC chief says Bitcoin is the only commodity in the wake of FTX collapse. The CFTC has faced a lot of scrutiny in the wake of FTX collapse due to its ties with crypto exchange and Sam Bankman-Fried's efforts to put the committee as key oversight's body of crypto. So what do you guys think? Do you guys agree with this? I mean, Bitcoin is not a security. It has been listed as a commodity, so which is good. But now, all the other cryptos are what we're now wondering about. And, if they pass the Howey test, if they are security or not, that I do not know. I don't think any of them are securities, any of the big ones at least. But I don't know, guys. I don't know what to think of this. Next story, Sam Bankman-Fried. Disputed reports that FTX and Alameda employees were fueled by drugs. This has been totally on-label use of medication. Guys, they were all hopped up on Adderall. Carolyn Elson even tweeted it that she loves being all hopped up on Adderall, something of that nature. Look it up for yourself. Guys. They were doing a ton of Adderall, all strung out. The metaverse is happening without Meta's permission. Despite Facebook's new name, focus on billions in investment, the metaverse will emerge drastically different from its vision. So we're rejecting Facebook's version of metaverse. We don't want anything to do with that. I've deleted, uninstalled, deactivated Facebook. I want nothing to do with Facebook. Now, as far as the metaverse, as y'all know, guys, I'm invested in a ton of metaverse projects. I don't think anyone really knows what the metaverse is going to be yet. I think it's kind of like something like, the early days of the internet. Like, what is the internet going to be? Is it going to be just, a place where people go on and chat? Is it going to be a place where people buy stuff? And the internet kind of evolved to what it is now. I believe we will see over the next, 10 to 20 years, the same thing happen with the metaverse. Anyway, y'all, I'm Classic Kev. You made it this far in the video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Y'all have a great day. I'm out. Peace.